What's up guys, it's Fred again, and just as I was planning out a video on the new stimulus package as well as what you can potentially do with the stimulus check, things take a very different turn as Donald Trump actually tweets out not only a statement but an actual video saying that he refuses to sign the bill into effect. And interestingly, his current stance seems to be more closely aligned with that of Democrats, as he is actually urging Congress to revise the stimulus checks up from $600 per person to $2,000.
Why make trillions when we could make billions?
And so in this video, I'm going to try analyzing what could potentially happen moving forward, as well as speculate on how the markets can actually react to some of these situations playing out. Quick disclaimer though, what I'm about to say here is merely my opinion, and thus I am in no way trying to give you financial advice. After all, personal finance is called personal finance for a reason, as you yourself are expected to make all the decisions that are best for yourself, as well as do your own due diligence. However, what I do recommend is that you pick up your 4 free stocks from Webull, available for a limited time only, 2 when you open an account, and 2 more when you deposit at least $100. So first of all, let's take a quick look at what Donald Trump actually had to say in his short video that he uploaded onto Twitter. And by the way, this is all under the context that Democrats have long been the ones pushing for a larger stimulus check from between $1,200 all the way to $2,000, whereas on the other hand, Republicans have actually been lobbying for a smaller check. Anyhow, let's take a look at a short highlight clip of what Donald Trump posted onto Twitter.
Congress started negotiations on a new package to get urgently needed help to the American people. It's taken forever. However, the bill they are now planning to send back to my desk is much different than anticipated. Congress found plenty of money for foreign countries, lobbyists, and special interests, while sending the bare minimum to the American people who need it. I am asking Congress to amend this bill and increase the ridiculously low $600 to $2,000 or $4,000 for a couple. I'm also asking Congress to immediately get rid of the wasteful and unnecessary items.
And so in summary, what we can gather from President Trump's statement is that too much of this bill has been allocated to foreign aid and that not enough is being given to American citizens. So he's essentially tossing this bill back to Congress to have senators from both parties decide on whether or not they want to increase the stimulus. And as for where the situation currently stands in terms of how Congress members have responded to this, first of all, Democrats seem to be largely on board, as if we look at Nancy Pelosi's response tweet to this, she actually said that Democrats are ready to bring this to the floor this week by unanimous consent. Let's do it. And based on the fact that Nancy Pelosi is pretty much speaking on behalf of Democrats, and that other Democrats have also tweeted as well, including AOC and Chuck Schumer being on board with this, and that this is exactly what Democrats have been pushing for the past few months, it is then definitely true that they at least agree with the specific provision of increasing the stimulus check from $600 to $2,000. And while I am all for a buffed up stimulus check, I actually quite doubt that Republicans will just roll with this quietly. After all, there's a reason that it took so long for them to negotiate the second stimulus package in the first place, right? Because Democrats and Republicans very much disagreed on the amounts that should be given out. And so even though President Trump himself was the one to put forth this demand, in my opinion, there's still a decent chance that Republicans are trying to use this as some sort of leverage, especially for the upcoming Georgia Senate elections. After all, whichever side wins the election pretty much gets to control the Senate. And so I do think we have to wait a little while to see how things actually play out. Now, as for how this could actually play out, the best case scenario, strictly in terms of getting a bigger stimulus check, is that Republicans, and in particular Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, straight up agrees with this, and Donald Trump signs it, and everybody gets $2,000. Worst case scenario, if most Republican congressmen do not agree to this, then we may have to wait an unspecified amount of time for Congress to draft up a essentially new bill, because again, Donald Trump doesn't want the 600, right?
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
So we will have to wait and see, although time is very much running out for things like forbearances for renters, as well as student loans payments being halted. Now moving on to some speculation as to how I think the markets will react to each scenario. First of all, if we take a look at stock market futures as of the recording of this video, it's actually largely flat, likely due to the fact that the situation is still very much up in the air. And if we assume that the markets have already largely priced in a $600 stimulus check that was supposed to come soon, if this actually ends up increasing, especially to $2,000, we can almost be sure that the markets will really like that.
I like money.
And in the same vein, if stimulus has to be renegotiated and God forbid delayed, then that'll obviously take its toll on the market. And not only that, but the markets are sure to react very quickly when it becomes more clear whichever scenario is more likely to play out. So if you want to stay on top of this in terms of investments, then I highly suggest you follow not only the largest news outlets and also turn on notifications for them on your phone, say through an app or some kind of newsletter, but also follow some of the prominent figures on Twitter, including and not limited to Donald Trump, people like Nancy Pelosi, and so on and so forth. So that whenever someone tweets out something decisive or some news outlets uploads a story, you'll be one of the first to be able to react.
Of course!
And lastly, for just a friendly reminder of how these stimulus checks work and how you can actually get it, first of all, single people earning up to $75,000 will receive or should receive the full amount. And if you earn more, it'll start to decrease incrementally. And then married couples earning up to $150,000 similarly will receive double that amount, right? So it's the same thing, but for two people, but you can actually share in the same pool of that salary count. And there will also be $600 given to each dependent child. And this should not actually be affected by Donald Trump's request for the $2,000, which should only be applied to adults. And again, you can simply head over to irs.gov once everything is actually ready to check your payment status or even enter in your bank account information in case you haven't done so for the first stimulus check. And that is all for today's stimulus check update. I hope you guys found it helpful. Remember to pick up your 4 free stocks from Webull, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.